Hello everyone, my name is Corazar, and welcome back to the Vintage Story Guide. What's that? Something's different? Oh, well thank you for noticing. Why yes, spring is here and I have shaved my winter beard. I've also finally changed my clothes. Been wearing those old ones for 6 months. We are back in the world after having spent quite a few days away from home. It's been so long that the snow is actually already all gone now that we're back. And boy did we get some cool stuff. We found all manner of new stone types to build with, and all manner of new wood types, and even a couple new tree seeds. But now that we're back and it's spring, we need to start thinking about what kinds of crops we're going to plant this year. And I think for the most part, we're going to plant sort of the usual. We want to keep a pretty heavy focus on flax because we need that for both fabric and for feeding our burgeoning animal population. But we also built a greenhouse last year, toward the end of the year, right at the end of the growing season, and there are a few kinds of crops I want to grow inside, in addition to our trees, which are actually still alive somehow. Wow. I think they just haven't decided yet if they're going to live or die. Now, before we get started on all that, I do want to take care of one piece of important business, and that is I want to plant our redwood seed, and I think I'm going to do it right here. And the reason I chose this spot kind of off-center is that I fully expect to need to chop down the tree and gather its leaves for hopefully seeds, and at some point in the summer or maybe the spring, I want to work a bit on this roundabout, and I kind of have a couple ideas for what to do in the middle here, and I don't want the tree getting in the way. I don't want to have to move it, and this is going to be here for a while. So we need to get to work, and boy are our fields a mess. Good thing I brought our iron scythe along. I'm going to go ahead and not trim, remove all this grass and all of the horsetail, and then once I'm done, we are going to get to work planting, but first something else. Okay, and now that that is all done, the next thing I want to tend to is I have been saving up potash for quite some time now, and we finally have enough to do these 4 fields with 1 piece of potash per plot. And there's a reason for that. I don't want to do more. One is that potash actually injects 60% additional potassium into the ground right away, so that's probably going to max out its fertilizer storage. But also, if you look here at the bar, it says that it permanently increases the farmland's max potassium fertility by 15%. So that means that the max fertility will go from 85 all the way to 100% potassium. But it only works once, so I want to do each of these plots once, and then we will begin sowing our seeds. So I'm going to go ahead and just bam. Look at that, plus 60% K. Our potassium-based crops will grow at 120%, so I call this a win. And we are just going to go all around here, and any of them that don't have the little indicator, just going to hit all of these with some potash. There we go, just like that. 256 plots of land all, get here, filled with potash. So, I'm going to go ahead and start sowing our seeds, starting with potassium crops, i.e. flax, in these 2 fields. And then this year we're going to be doing some onions, cabbage, as well as some rye. And I will flip back and forth between the rye and the spelt, because the treasure hunter trader will buy both rye and spelt bread, as well as flax and rice bread. So I'm going to get these seeds in, and I will bring you back when that's all done. And like that, we have all 4 fields sown. I'm leaving this a little bit fallow just because I don't have any other phosphorus crops that I want to grow here, but that is fine. I'm just going to close that last gate up, and we're going to go on to our next project. So last year, we built this greenhouse, and we built that rift too, but we haven't done anything with it because it was too cold at the time. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and plant our new rice and sunflower seeds. And we only have a few, so we're not even going to fill up barely more than half of one of these pods here. And I may have gotten my hands on a bit more Terraced. And by a bit more, I mean, wow. When we were out looking for stone last episode, I came across, I think, 4 deposits of Terraced, and we are sitting very high on Terraced. We have 6 1/4 stacks of Terraced just sitting in our chest over here. So I'm going to take, well, we'll do half of one, and this will do 1 pod of our greenhouse. And we're going to go dig up that farmland and turn it back into medium soil, and I'm going to put this Terraced down. And because today is a special day, and we're going to be doing a lot of farming today, I went ahead and I made an iron hoe. Yes, I spent an entire ingot on an iron hoe. And we are going to hoe all this down before it turns into grass. And looks like the iron hoe is not any faster than the stone hoe. Great. And now we're just going to throw down our new seeds. So we have 2 sunflower seeds, and these would probably be fine out in the fields because they can go down to -5, but we found them in the south, so let's give them a sunnier home. There we go. And then we have 15 rice seeds, and we're just going to place them around here like this. Now, I've been watching the weather. It does get below their 8-degree threshold, but not below the 3-degree threshold, because the greenhouse, again, well, and these blocks haven't updated yet because we just hoed them, but these will get the greenhouse bonus so that it will always be 5 degrees warmer in here than it is outside. And there are some quirks with the temperature and the fact that our ridge is up on about, what, 15 or 10 blocks elevation. If you go down into the valley, it's literally like 4 degrees warmer usually. And my understanding is that your altitude, while it affects the ambient temperature for you, it doesn't necessarily affect the temperature for farming. So we might actually be able to eke out some more harvests each year by planting a little earlier and harvesting a little later, but I don't really want to risk it. Oh, I missed a spot. Missed a few spots. Anyway, today, the rest of the episode, we are focusing on our new farms. And we laid them out last year, or I guess sometime over the winter. And I want our new farms to sort of come out of this road here and be terraced, so that as you walk up to our ridge, you walk along our farms. And each farm is 2 blocks lower than the next farm, or 2 blocks higher, depending on what way you're walking. And I have a neat design in mind that I've been mulling in my head, and I want to see how it comes out. So we are not going to be filling in everything here, but as you can see, I have already started stoning this area to keep drifters from spawning when we cover this up and make it all dark down there. I want to get the sort of presentation side from the valley of our estate done, so that as you are coming up from the valley to our estate, you see these nice big farms showing just how rich we are in terms of land and Terraced. So I'm going to go get the materials ready. I just came back from a trip to gather some more andesite, which is why I'm using andesite stones. And in the morning, we will start our farms. And I just noticed that our campsite is ready. So, you know what? The drifters just said we should go check it out, so I think we should. Oh boy. I am liking this already. Wow. Look at that. And we got all big trees, too. Except for this one little walnut. But you know what? I kind of like that it's small. It's small without really crowding too much. Except for this back area, but maybe we could, like, clear out some space for this fruit tree to grow. Oh boy, am I excited and ready to tell some campfire stories here in the near future. Anyway, I will see you all in the morning when we are ready to start construction on our new farms. there we have the start of our terraced farms. I think it's a pretty good look so far. And the idea is that the terraced farms very slightly hide the view of our house from out in the valley, especially on these areas like over here, where I don't want to run the road. The road's going to be going kind of past this way, along that way, up toward the artisan, and it's going to sort of go straight for a while before it starts to curve. So in areas that you're not supposed to be walking around on the plains, the house is a little more hidden. And you're going to have to imagine a road beneath my feet. You're coming up the road here, and you get more of a glimpse of the house before it's occluded by the ridge itself. And then, as you come up the road here, you get more and more of a view of the house the closer you get to it. Until you're finally on the driveway. And you can see the house in all its glory. And get right up to our little cart port, our carriage port. Now I haven't done this wall over here because what I want to do is I think I want to snake a little offshoot, maybe from right here. And I left my path down in the basement, but I do an offshoot of the path here, and then right down here have a set of stairs that leads down into the valley from here, because I find myself often needing to sort of go off in that direction right from home, and I don't want to have to go down into the valley on the road and then hang a sharp left and sort of, you know, lose a bunch of time just going out here when I could have gone right off that direction. So that path will be just sort of a private walk. It might not even have the limestone gravel lining. I haven't decided yet. But I wanted to get that staircase in first because that would sort of inform how I'm going to build the wall. So let's go ahead and do that then. I think I'll start the path basically here. I will raise this up and fill this in a bit. Not too much. Probably want to stop it right about here and sort of just slope it up. But for now, let's go a bit like this. And then maybe even one more over, so we're not walking right against the wall there. Or you know what? Maybe you could walk against the wall. Why not? And then our stairs would begin about here. We will have them run at a 1-to-1 diagonal down, and they'll end up right about there. And there we go. We have our set of stairs down into the valley, and then makes just for a nice and easy way up for us. No more jumping up that little slope over by our old house. So I'm going to get this little wall in, and then I'm going to start on some of the detail work on the front here. I have an idea of what I want to do for these little windows. And they're not really going to be windows, but you will see what I have in mind for them in a bit. And I'll bring you all back once I have this wall in and I'm working on the details. And I'm not going to fill these in yet with our farmland because I don't want to darken the area below until I had a chance to stone it. And so I'm actually going to dig up most or maybe even all of the dirt down here because we're going to need to move a lot of dirt and relocate it up into these areas, like right here and all in here. This will all become probably 2 layers of dirt just for safety. So the farmland will actually be one of the last things we put in after that's done and after I have some kind of fencing or walls here. And there we have it. I did go ahead and decide to just stone the whole area. I'd already gotten most of this back here, And I figured, you know what? Oops. I figured I'd fall into our little pit area here. I cut away even more dirt than just the dirt below our farms because we're going to need a ton of it. And I have the whole area stoned. I think I got every square. At least everyone that matters, because the ones that are just 1 block tall, we won't get anything spawning there. So, I think it's time to move on to Phase 2, which is going to be getting in some of content up here. And while we've been working, some of our trees have decided to start growing up. So we now have a young apple tree here. Yellow apple. We have a pink apple tree that's still establishing. Our cherry tree over here is still establishing. We do have a few dead trees though. We have this red apple here. This is what a dead tree cutting looks like, and I'm going to leave it here for the time being until I see if I can get some more red apple branches to plant, because I don't want to lose where I put this. But if you break it with an axe, it will turn into just some firewood. I think 3 or 4 pieces. So, got a few, but we have plenty more of some of these tree types. I think the red apple and the the cherry are kind of the rarest as far as our collection goes. I will see you all in the morning, and we will start getting in our farms. And that took almost all day. But we finally have all of our fields tilled. And next, I think we need some defenses. Or fences, I should say. Now, I am actually out of andesite rock at the moment, so I might make a real quick trip over to grab maybe half a stack to a stack more, because I want to continue the andesite up 1 or 2 blocks for the fence. So I'm going to go grab some of that, and then I think I want to use a different fence, one that we haven't used for fence a whole lot, more as like there on the roof. I want to use the aged wood fence out here to give some nice sort of dark contrast from below, because up here we have the nice dark farmland for contrast, but from below it would be all blue and white. And one other color we haven't gotten to yet. So I'm going to go do that, and then I'll bring you back when we are ready to put these in and to do the detail work down on the front of these farms here. Well, it's been a little bit of time, and I may have gone a little ham. Just a little. Not like whole hog, just some ham. A few slices of deli meat. And I actually did start putting rifts around the base here. Just kidding. No, I started doing some of the terraforming that I wasn't thinking I was going to touch today, but I was kind of tired of having to, like, kind of nervous look down at the stones 10 blocks down while I was crossing these bridges, and I figured it would be best to at least start filling in some of this. So I started filling in, missed that part, some of the dirt here, and we are actually out of the limestone gravel, so I'm going to have to go get some of that and stock up on that, as well as a few other things. But this is our new farm area. And the plan is that once we have exhausted the farmland over in our other farms, we will then rotate those crops out over to here and let the soil over in the other area recover for probably 2 planting seasons. That will help keep our flax production going, as well as all the other foodstuffs that we're going to need for our own meals, for feeding animals, for breeding animals, and so on. And even for making rot, actually. But here is the final design for these, and I am really happy with how they came out. We have sort of back in here a bit of gravel, as if this whole thing is sitting on a big old pile of gravel that's sort of packed down by the dirt on top, which would make sense, I guess. You know, you'd want to have your dirt on top of gravel to let the water drain out over time. And then each of these is the exact same size and shape as our other farms, so we can fit 64 plots in here. And the centerpiece, I will think about what to do with these. I am thinking flowers, maybe bees. But our bees haven't recovered yet from my last harvest, so I won't put them in quite yet, but I am definitely thinking some flowers and then like a beehive in each one, as if we were using the bees to help pollinate our crops. And we will never actually harvest these bees, we'll just leave them here for decoration. Anyway, everyone, I think that's where we're going to leave it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed our little adventure in putting together these farms, from the planning to the somewhat finished terraforming to getting the actual builds in. And our home here is certainly coming together, especially with that campsite in the background to my right, your left. Anyway, as always, my name has been Kurazar. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.